Yes, now we're friends. Yeah, yeah, over today. Oh my goodness. He sure was. That's Oh yeah. They were adding glitter on top. Hot. Making sure it sparkles.
Doing everything behind.
Oh yeah.
Good. How are things? Oh no, that's fine.
Well, do you still have the picture that was up with him?
They took it.
Oh, they have it?
And they took it down. She had it. That would be good. She took it.
Oh my gosh. I loved him so much. Oh.
Whose are these? I'm gonna give them to my wife. I hope she don't see it. I hope she don't watch it. My baby, these are just for Alright. I'm gonna give them to her at her job tomorrow.
Yes.
Doctor place.
It's the best part.
I'm to say,
I used to dream about that.
I'm gonna say just because. Just because flowers. You want another one? I know you like this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready? There you go. I did. Great job. Yeah.
Okay. It is 6:35, and we would like to call our Peoria Public School open session meeting to order. Madam Secretary. Oh, you cannot hear me? I can't move it. It is 6:35. We would like to call our open session meeting to order. At this time, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mrs. Hargrove Murray?
Here.
Mr. Ivory? Mrs. Rose?
Here.
Mrs. Ross?
Here.
Dr. Wilson?
Here.
President McConnell?
Here.
We have 6 present.
Thank you. Would everyone stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. We'd like to recognize our festive boards. We have here from, I can't see
Knoxville.
From Knoxville Center. Are you on track for a successful year? Kind of gives me vibes of the Soul Train. That's really neat. And then over here we have Team Bobcat. And Which school is this? Is this Rolling Charter? Oh, Charter Oak. Okay. All right, Charter Oak Bobcats. Thank you so much.
And Murray's.
A announcement from the board, please. Thank you.
E-learning plans. Be prepared for e-learning days. Peoria Public Schools has uploaded e-learning plans on each school website in case schools are closed due to weather-related issues. Please visit your student school website to become familiar with your school's e-learning expectations. I have one more. 2024, I have two more. 2024-25 winter break. The last day of school before winter break will include a 1-hour early dismissal for all students. Winter break for students will run from December 23rd to July 7th. KCSS will observe winter break from December 23rd to January 14th, 2025. Offices will be closed to December 24th, December 25th, and January 1st. I have two more. 7 mindsets. We are connected. Is the mindset being highlighted from now until December 20th? The We Are Connected mindset highlights the importance of relationships and community. It teaches that by supporting and collaborating with others, we grow both personally and together. This mindset encourages empathy and reminds us that our actions impact those around us, helping create a positive, thriving environment for all. Jobs at PPS. There are many opportunities to join the staff at PPS. Text JOBS to 30929 to apply, or visit the www.peoriapublicschools.com/jobs.
And our student board member, is it Patterson? Is your last name?
Elmi.
Oh, Elmi. Okay. The sign is wrong.
Oh yeah,
on
I
your
was
desk.
covering for her.
Okay. Do you have an announcement?
Mhm. So quarter 2 grading. The second quarter grading period wraps up on December 20th. Students can expect their report cards to be distributed on January 10th. Mark your calendars and get ready to celebrate hard work and achievements.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, President McConnell. Looks like I have a poem here. Beneath the glow of soft lit skies, a book in hand, the hours fly. Pages turn, a world unfolds. In winter's hush, new tales are told. For 30 minutes, time takes flight. Reading warms the coldest night. Read 30 minutes a day, I think is the lesson.
Okay, standards-based grading. Are you worried about your students' progress? Parents of middle schoolers who are new to standards-based grading are encouraged to review the learning goals, known as standards, to gain better understanding of how they can support their students' success. To review the standards for each grade level, visit the website under the menu for academics and then choose curriculum and instruction from the submenu. We also want to encourage you to reach out to your student's teacher for specific examples that you can use to help students at home. If you have any questions, please contact Tracy Donath, Director of Curriculum, at tracy.donath@psd150.org. And BusQuest. Peoria Public Schools is excited to announce the upcoming launch of BusQuest, a new and improved bus tracking app, on January 7th, 2025. One of the key benefits of BusQuest is its improved tracking notifications that offer a more accurate estimation of the bus's arrival time at your stop. To learn more about the app and other planned features, we encourage you to attend the next board meeting, which is tonight. Josh Collins will be here to provide an overview of the app and its benefits tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening. Woodruff Early Childhood Education Center and pre-K classes. Peoria Public Schools is thrilled to announce the opening of 4 new pre-K classrooms at Woodruff. This expansion allows for 80 additional students to enroll. These classrooms are specifically designed for children who are currently 4 years old and will begin kindergarten in the fall of 2025. These classrooms were made possible by the Preschool for All expansion grant. Thank you.
Thank you. And my announcement is Parent Cafe. The Cray Cray Parent Cafe will be held on Thursday, January 9th at Woodruff High High School in the gym from 5:30 to 7 p.m. This Cray Cray Parent Cafe is hosted by Peoria Public Schools and Gary Moore. The Cray Cray Advice for Parents workshop will engage parents in fun-filled exercises that will use mock scenarios to facilitate discussion on a wide range of parenting subjects. Childcare and transportation are available, but you must register by December 20th. Check your email for an invitation and a registration link. The Parent Cafe. Those are our announcements. Now we will move on to Remarkable Spirit and Mrs. Marjorie, is it Cow? Cow. Thank you.
Hello, Madam President and Dr. Crott and the board. I had the pleasure of meeting Giovanna Bear at our PTO meeting last month, and I was so incredibly impressed by her spirit that she exemplifies. The most amazing thing is that she has gone outside of her comfort zone. She attends activities to recruit PTO members from all different schools. She goes not where her kids are performing or playing or are involved. She's going outside of her comfort zone and stretching her boundaries to meet people and help them get connected and use their skills and talents within their PTOs. So very excited to award this to Giovanna Bear.
Thank you. I have been PTO for forever. Me and Paris were together for years at Peoria High with Dr. Coleman. I just think that the best thing that we could do for our students is just be involved, no matter how small or how big, even just being there. I've shown up to kids' things that are not even my kids just to see them because they don't have people there. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much. I have known her to be a very engaged parent since 2015. And she is relentless. She is loyal. She's faithful, not only to just the school that her students go to, but just universally for the good of the district. So nice to see you, and thank you for all of your sacrifices and your passion for family and for parents and for this district. So congratulations.
And President McConnell, she participated in our PTO council meeting district-wide and just shared with other schools, whether they're executive officers. And we just really appreciated you doing that. You were funny, you were happy, and very, very helpful. So thank you, as President McConnell said, for just encouraging families to, participate as well. Because we do know the research, as you said, once parents are involved, students tend to fare better academically. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Next, we have Miss Anna Rose. Presentation.
Evening, President McConnell, Vice President Dr. Wilson, and Dr. Crott, and the board. First of all, I want to tell you that you confused me this year by hiring a Rose. Every time you ask for approval, I want to say something, and it's really hard. Anyway, I'm here today to recognize two outstanding teachers. I would be here all night because I have wonderful teachers on my staff, and I can't tell you enough on how wonderful they are. But two teachers tonight stand out to me, and I like to bring recognition to them. Mr. Adam Arenas used to work for Quest, so he was here advocating for Quest and the parents and everything that he felt important. And at first I thought, should I bring him over? But I knew Adam from working as an ESL teacher at Quest. We worked together, and I knew the kind of teacher he was. He has tenacity, patience, involvement, advocates for parents, and is wonderful. He always goes way beyond the call of duty to make sure that students get what they need. This year, he was tasked with looking at Peoria Public Schools in a different manner because he no longer was an ESL teacher, but a dual language teacher at Whittier. He teaches fourth grade and takes his job very seriously. He looked at our curriculum maps and saw that project-based learning was the top goal of our teaching strategy and what we're doing this year with students and getting them involved and producing rigor in the classrooms. And I want to tell you that he took it very seriously, so every month that he has to present a project that we're working on, he does excellent. I want to bring him up to share the project that he did this year so far. It's been great, but this one outranked every one of them. So, Mr. Arenas?
And just notable, you have 5 minutes, okay?
Yes,
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
So this is part of my students from the dual language class, and we did a project from the financial unit, from one of the thematic units, and they learned about income savings and all the fun stuff, and we decided that we will do a market day, and each of them just created like their own business. So it was a lot of fun while we were just creating all this beautiful project, and then one of the main goals at the end was that they were supposed to choose like one charity that they wanna use go, and they decided just to go to St. Jude. So all the profits that they got on the market day went to St. Jude, and they just collect $454 for St.
And if you could have your students just come in, if they can give us their first and last name, and then if they have a parent here, have their parents stand.
Okay, so hello, my name is Jarmir, and I'm gonna tell you about our market day. So, our market day is about trying to learn how to spend money, how to save money, and like just how to handle money. But like the main thing we wanted to do was, well, we wanted to learn how to make money, and we wanted, yeah. And we did something that was fun, educational, and then after the reason we decided to say June was because kids with cancer, they shouldn't have to go through all that because it's not fair that other kids don't have cancer and don't have to go through it. So, and we don't want the parents to have to pay all that money to get their kids' health right. So we just wanted to cut half of that money down so we could get them the money they need for the cancer patient.
My name is Barbie, and for the business, we sell different things. And for the business, we were like selling like things, and then people came in, and they had money, and then we gave the items to them, and we decided to pick St. Jude for kids with cancer, and we decided to do it because we wanted to go what it feels like for a business owner to go through, and for us to have opportunities for us to do what we're going to do in a couple years for a business.
And then Miss Barbie, your parent, is your parent here? Would Barbie's parent raise their hand? Thank you so much, Mr. Allen. The next student. And if your parent is here, if they could stand too. Or parents or family, stand up. Yeah, it's your moment.
I'm Kelly. Mr. Arenas told us that we were going to learn about how to spend money and what's the difference about what we want and what we need. So he told us to come up with some idea of what to sell in the market.
Thank you so much teacher, for your leadership and for empowering kids to have, compassion and to teach them that work ethic and to donate to a worthy cause. So that's excellent, and thank you so much for your leadership.
And I present Mr. Arenas with the Remarkable Award. Thank you. The next teacher is our international teacher. She came from the Philippines to share her knowledge and background, and everything she brings to the table is wonderful. She not only dedicates her time and effort to the dual language students, she also dedicates her time and effort to others, and she helps the Filipino teachers that are new to the country assimilate and gives them ideas. She's the connection for them, and she's really their support. Mrs. Kamanian has been doing an excellent job with our transitional newcomers that are struggling to not struggling, I should say, are taking time to assimilate into the new country while they're learning English. So she really takes time to help foster the language, the culture, and have them slowly become part of the general ed population. She not only brings interest into project-based learning, she also has students who are not classified as EL asked to come to her class because they like her teaching methods and they like that quiet environment she provides. She has taken students so far to many places. She came back last week from a field trip. She went to Chicago to show the students about their heritage and did that wonderful field trip. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Kamanian as our Remarkable Spirit Award. Okay, I'll take it for her. I know that she would have been here. I don't know what happened. She had reserved to come, but I'll let her know that we have her award. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, number 6, awards and recognitions. Dr. Karat.
Thank you, President McConnell. This is a time when we are going to celebrate principals. Our principals are working so hard with attendance and chronic absenteeism, and I'm just very, very, very proud of them. And I would like to encourage you to continue to keep your eyes on the prize, keep plugging away, keep working with your school community, your students, your families. You guys are doing such creative and fun things. But three schools popped up at the top for this month, November attendance improvement this November compared to last year, and it is in first place it's Woodruff Career Technical Center, and then second place Mark Bills, and third place Elise Fort Allen, and I think I'm seeing a constant repetition in terms of being on the top. So whatever you're doing, continue to do it. Marjorie, Mrs. Kauth, has a token of appreciation for each one of you. But just the three of you, maybe we'll start with third place, Elise Fort Allen, Miss Rogers. You can maybe come and share one tip. And I'll tell you what, schools across the nation and Illinois, and every time I go to a conference and we have question and answer session, they're asking, what are you guys doing about attendance? What strategies are you utilizing for chronic absenteeism? So maybe can you share one or two regarding attendance? Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
As far as attendance, I think that remaining consistent, having a school-wide Tier 1 plan, and making sure that it's a strong plan that can be easily implemented. So not only having that Tier 1 plan, but having a team that manages that plan. And so last year we started, and this year we've really picked up a lot of momentum with the team and the buy-in from the students and the families, and just tracking that information, tracking the data, and following through.
Yep. Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Ms. Rogers is the principal of Elise Fort Allen. Thank you. Hesh, Mark Bills, principal of Mark Bills. I know it's a huge focus of yours as well. And he's principal of Mark Bills. I think I said that.
Yes, we, in addition to all the attendance plans that we have, we've done a few competitions, and our main goal this year to really combat this that we worked with Tom and Cheryl about was making our school fun overall. We want to make it as fun as possible so kids don't want to miss. I never missed a day of school all the way through because I didn't want to miss out on anything. So that was our real goal of making our classrooms more engaging, have more activities in class, have more project-based things going on in class, or have more cooperative things going in class, so you feel like you're letting somebody down if you miss. In addition to stealing some ideas from some of the other middle schools, which they've been very cooperative with. But again, our staff and our community has done an outstanding job really pushing the pace and making it, again, a fun place to be. So.
I love that, Mr. Hesh. Thank you. Mr. Spiker? Principal of Woodruff Career Technical Education Center. They have the Warrior Cafe as well. I think they had one last week. The students fed 175 individuals from the community?
Yeah, roughly around there. I made the deposit this morning, so that's roughly how much it was. Yes, correct.
Awesome.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here. The main thing, I'm fortunate that our classes are electives and kids want to be there. And they're longer classes than 45 minutes. So our teachers get a lot of time to be able to get to build those relationships, get to know students, know how to keep them interested and motivated and wanting to come to school. Plus, I work with all the high schools, Knoxville, Manual, Richwoods, Peoria High. All the great things they're doing in their schools benefits us as well. So I kind of feel like I'm being awarded for all the high schools because all their benefits benefit me. So
that's great. Yep,
appreciate
thanks. Mr. Spiker, I was at the hair fashion show yesterday at Pier Market, and one of your kids won the braiding competition.
Oh,
I don't remember her name, but please recognize her and her teacher. She gave a lot of kudos to her teacher, and her story was really interesting. She said she ended up in the class by accident and then just fell in love with it, and it was very competitive, and they had a judge from Springfield, Illinois, and so
perfect.
Yes.
I'll have to talk to Miss Sims. She wasn't here today, so I'll talk to her tomorrow and find out who it was and I'll celebrate that student.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you for letting me know.
You're welcome. And then chronic absenteeism. Why don't you stay, Mr. Spiker? Anything special that you're doing with that? And you dropped to 46%, which is amazing. So you guys are number one place.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have a gentleman named Mr. Burns that works in my building.
Mr. Burns?
Who knows everyone.
Okay.
I mean, almost everyone in the city. So if we have a problem or anything like that, I get Burns and he knows, I can call this person. I know their uncle or I know their... So I'm very fortunate to have Mr. Burns work with me on chronic absenteeism. As soon as we start seeing kids drop, I can get a hold of him, he can get a hold of family members, and it helps tremendously to have someone with that much knowledge of the community in my building.
Thank you. Yeah, so one of the things the principals have said to me overall, and I see our executive directors are here as well, and they agree that they're really giving a lot of kudos to the parents. They're saying the parents are buying in and they're supportive, and so the idea is that children shouldn't miss really 18 days, right? And so, and they're tracking it. The principals are doing an amazing job. They've every month, so if school starts in July or August, you cannot miss 2 days. And then August, September, you can't miss 3 days. Otherwise, you're on a track to get that 18 days. So they know their children. They know the circumstances. Board, it is amazing and beautiful to see what those principals are doing and their teams as well. So thank you, Mr. Spiker. So then Rolling Acres, Mr. Barber.
And then who is Mr. Burns? What's his first name so we can acknowledge him?
Mr. Spiker, is he your family core person?
He's my
what's his
SEL
full
aide.
name?
Kenneth Burns.
Kenneth Burns. Okay.
His SEL aide.
Yes.
And I have the pleasure of supervising Rolling Acres and 3 other schools. and I see them in action. I see what they do, and they teach me a lot as well. And Mr. Barber, can you share some of the strategies that you and your team have implemented to get your numbers down? Because yes, you're down by almost 40. You've dropped almost 40%.
Right. Through the month of November, I think we were just over 14% chronically absent. This time last year, we were like 26% chronically absent. So it's been a huge reduction for us. We really have a great team. We have great people. Our family core person, Tegan Jeffcoat, works with kids. I gave her a list at the end of last week and said, can you go talk to these kids? I run an absence list every day to see how many days kids have absences they've accrued. So we're looking at that list daily to kind of target kids to say which kids do we have to go talk with, which families do we have to talk with. We're trying to encourage kids to get to school. Karat's crew has an attendance challenge between the four of us. So last week we played Liberty. We're in the playoff system at this point. We've been doing it all year long every week. And last week, thankfully, we beat Liberty in our attendance challenge. And so Mark Bills, did you guys win or lose against Reservoir? They fell short against Reservoir. So we play Reservoir in the championship this week, so we'll see who wins. But it's been great fun for the kids. We have an attendance chain that Mr. Hesh kind of came up with.
About that.
So kids walk around with this attendance chain. I look ridiculous in this big attendance chain as we wear.
Our president loves it because she's a Chiefs fan. So
yeah. So it's just it's just having great people who care about kids, who are working hard. It's just a great team effort with our counselor, our librarian, and the same year our secretary, who does a great job with families and calling, making sure kids are coming to school and asking why they're not here, and really encouraging kids to be here. So it's just really a big team effort for us at Rolling Acres.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Barber.
Nice.
Appreciate
Thank you
that.
so much.
Yes. So,
And that's 2 months in a row. We've been second. Next month we're going to be first.
All right. We love it. Good. Ms. Berger, you're making progress as well. You're a primary school, and so we had a high school, middle school, and primary. It's nice to see the three tiers. So what are you guys doing? What's
As you know, I got a remarkable secretary.
Yes, that's right.
Mr. Burns is one of my parents, so we got a remarkable parent too. We're just trying to make things fun too for students. Like every Friday, we see if we've made our 95% or not, and then they get to dress out a uniform on Monday. We do a slideshow for those who have been here and every day at school and on time, and they get to see themselves on their Friday slideshow. We have an attendance bash quarterly, and you just have to make 95% for that quarter, so it resets every time. We're not asking for perfection, but we're asking for just improvement and striving for that 95%. So our parents have really gotten on board too, and they are doing a wonderful job supporting us and getting with our plan too. So
Thank you so much.
And would you like to recognize some of your staff who was with you?
Well, sure. Dr. Brown is here, and my secretary, Miss Giovanna Bear, is here.
Stand up, you guys.
My attendance team.
So board and the public, that's really what sets us apart. I mean, we have to work for every point, right? And we have to be creative. So thank you, principals. And they've just representation, 4 of them, but I'll tell you, everybody's pretty much focused and intentional about increasing attendance and chronic absenteeism, because when those children are not in those buildings, we're not able to impact them. So again, thank you, team. Madam President, I'll turn it over to you. I apologize. There's a hearing.
Yeah, I was going to say, we are at 7 o'clock. We have to have our tax levy hearing. 7 p. We're now at 7:04. Mr. Willis. And I just want to thank all of the principals and staff and the families who are here. Thank you for your time, and thanks for just being here and supporting. And Councilman Allen, we appreciate you as well. Thank you. Dr. Allen, correction, Dr. Andre Allen. And then I also want to thank, I see Pastor Thomas is here. Thank you so much. And then also Dr. McConnell is here as well. Thank you for being, consistent and showing up and supporting.
Part of the tax rate process is that we allow the public to speak if they so choose at a hearing prior to adopting resolutions to set the tax levy. At this time, the Board of Education opens the floor for anyone who might wish to speak on proposed property taxes that are on the agenda for approval. Seeing none, hearing closed.
Hearing satisfied. Thank you so much. All right, next item on our agenda is district presentations from Mr. Josh Collins, Director of Transportation, and I'll move my head out the way. And thanks for being here, Mr. Collins.
Thank you for having me.
Come back at 4.
All right. President McConnell, Board, Dr. Karat, thank you for having us. I brought along Mr. Bowen here. He's, I've got to say just real quick about Mike. We would not be able to do what we are doing right now with the routing software changeover, the things that we're doing and the places that we're going, and the doors that are going to open with the new routing software without Mike. He's just been absolutely outstanding with his knowledge of how all of this stuff works and his ability just to make this stuff happen. So I've got to give kudos to Mike on that. He does a fantastic job for us. So basically, I'll try to keep this quick. We are in the process of changing our routing software. Basically for us, that would be equivalent to the district saying we're going to move away from Skyward to something else. So this is a big deal for the department. We've been working on this for a very long time, but we are at the point where we know that we're having issues with the current parent app through Versatrans. There's a lot of limitations there. We know that. So we're at the point where we can begin to roll out the parent app for our parents. So if you go to the first slide, it's called BusQuest app. It's going to be through Easy Routing, which is our new software. So essentially, we will be moving to this app. This will go live for us on January 7th when we return from second semester. So will give the student bus routes for AM and PM, scheduled pickup times, and it will give alerts as the bus nears your student's scheduled stop, and you can have multiple students listed under one login. Basically, it's real easy. You go to either the App Store or Google Play, whatever phone OS you have, and you download the app, and then you create the parent account. Search and select Peoria School District 150 as your school district. So once you log in, you'll have to select the school from the drop-down. Then you'll create your username, which is based on your email address. It's very important that your email must match what the email address you have for the student contact in Skyward. So any parents out there, please make sure that the emails are up to date with Skyward, along with that with your phone number. That's always helpful as well. Once you complete the registration process with the username, you'll log into BusQuest. If your student is not listed, then you can search for them in the app. It will have all of the students there. Registration steps are almost identical for alternative users. So what you can do is, as a parent, you sign up for it, but let's say your student goes to a babysitter in the afternoon. You can allow that babysitter to have access to that, so that babysitter can see, or a grandma, grandparent, whoever can have access to that. But the primary account must allow access. So you, as the primary parent, always has direct control over who you give that access to. Student information, selecting a student gives access to several tabs of information, general student information, bus schedules, addresses, and attendance. And when we say attendance, we mean attendance on the bus, not attendance in the school. Tracking the bus, the second tab in the bus app is the bus tracker. The unique thing with this app is it allows the parent to customize that notification. So you will be drawing, as a parent, you will draw essentially a geofence around your location. You can either do a circle or you can do it by freehand. In this particular instance with the circle, you see that big yellow line going through there. That's probably going to be a major thoroughway. You probably don't want to include that part because there might be a lot of buses going through there and it might give you bad alerts. So it'll allow you to do freehand, and you can kind of draw that geofence however you'd like. You can make it as large as you want or as small as you want, and that will dictate how you get those notifications. But what it does is it puts that control in parents' hands versus the app we have now, which, quite frankly, we really don't know how it delivers or gathers that information. It does some really quirky things. We will stop supporting the current MyStop app on February 10th. So on February 10th, we will stop supporting that. For the 25-26 school year, student tracking attendance for loading and unloading will be available, which means our students will scan on and off the bus. If they forget their QR code, essentially, the driver has a tablet that they can use as a backup to load those students. The benefit there is, beginning next year, as a parent, not only can you use the parent app, but it will also tell you when and where your student got on the bus and when and where they got off the bus, which will be a great feature for parents. And the ability to request stop changes. So if your student is at corner A, but you would rather your student be at corner B, beginning next year, you can make those requests. That doesn't mean those requests can be granted, but you as a parent can make those requests through the app instead of having to call us. So a little FAQ, can I make changes to contact information through the app? The short answer is no. That information needs to be updated through Skyward. We do not handle that. That includes changes to your pickup and drop-off address. Can I request changes to my bus stop? All requests to change a location, route, or stop time should be directed directly to the transportation office. Keep in mind that stop times are determined by the stops on the route. So we cannot, changing the stop time is something that we really cannot do, but we can look at locations. Is my student's information secure? The answer is yes. The BusQuest app is only available to parents and guardians listed in Skyward using phone numbers or email addresses that are listed there. All other access is granted through by the primary parent or guardian, and you have the ability to revoke that. So if, again, the babysitter, let's say that changes, you can revoke that from the original babysitter and give that to the new. My student information is not correct in the app. How do I change it? All requests to change a stop location route, again, that's through the transportation office. Anything over and above that, like your address, pickup and drop off addresses, those all go through the school. And for anybody that's here that's interested, we'll leave these up for a minute, Michelle. Anybody can scan the QR code and begin to download those. They will not function until we return from the second semester, but please go ahead and get it now. Do your signups, all of that now, so you're ready to go in second semester. And with that, I'll turn it over to any questions.
Questions from the board?
I just wanted to say I appreciate the information that you provided. I love the information or what this app does. So I appreciate you and your team.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anybody else?
Can I say something?
Sure.
Mr. Collins, thank you for this presentation. I didn't know if maybe you just wanted to remind people that while they're getting this app now, the information they see for their students' route will be last year's route. Is that still correct?
I believe so.
Yes. So as we're still spinning the new routing software out, it's just important to remember while parents can register and log in, they may not see their students, and the information they see for their students is one day it may be correct, one day it may not be, because we're still.
I just don't want them to panic. So I just thought we would maybe also remind them that if you find your student and it has last year's information, that's because we haven't rolled it out officially yet.
Yeah. We will be ready to go for second semester. There's a lot of steps here. We began training our drivers. So we're in the process of doing all that, but we will be ready to go for second semester.
Thank you.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any questions? Mr. Collins, I want to personally say thank you. And Mike, if you would stand, please. We thank you for just your time, because we know that technology is good when it works. And so we are going to pray and wish that on January 7th is smooth sailing, and whatever glitches happen, we'll just figure it out and we'll still be functional.
No glitches.
None at all.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Collins. All right, presentation by audience. Any individual has the opportunity to address the board for not more than 5 minutes. If you need any additional time, it will be at the consensus of the board. And the total time on one subject cannot exceed 20 minutes. And the time starts when the board secretary starts the timer, and it ends at the signal. And then we have a legal note that I'm going to ask the attorney to share, please.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to take a moment to remind the audience, and particularly those that are making public comment, that public participation at board meetings is governed by both the law and by Board Policy 2:230. Pursuant to the law, the right of individuals to criticize or make reference to specific individuals is protected by the First Amendment to the United States Constitution and by Article 1, Section 4 of the Illinois Constitution. While the board must allow such comments, persons addressing the board are reminded that this ability to criticize persons by name or to make allegations against them in no way protects the speaker from subsequent actions of libel or slander by the persons or parties so named. Furthermore, pursuant to Board Policy 2:230, the board will not tolerate rude or insulting language. If the rude or insulting language persists after a warning has been given, the right to address the board will be terminated. Thank you.
Thank you. So our first audience participation is Lynn Fingerhut. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Education and Dr. Karat. I'm here to talk as a District 150 parent about one specific issue that hasn't come up yet, but it's imminent here. And that's the future of the school academic calendar, but also kind of the broader issue of the process and community input. The board should not be voting on a new academic calendar without actively seeking meaningful input from parents, students, and other stakeholders, and also listening to the community. I understand that we're approaching a vote in the next few months for an academic calendar that'll include 2 academic years, 2026-27 and 2027-28. And I'm trying hard to understand the process, so correct me if I'm wrong, but sometime in the next 6 months, I believe the board will discuss the type of calendar that we'll be having, for example, balanced, modified, year-round, and then that will go to the calendar committee. And from my understanding, the committee is comprised of representatives from the 5 union groups, teachers have 4 representatives, principals from all levels, primary, early childhood, middle, high school, and the alternative locations, executive directors of the schools, the director of transportation, director of communications, director of employee services, and then that committee makes the decision on when our breaks are, around like testing, the SIP days, conferences, all of that. And then the results of the calendar committee come back to the board for a final vote, and then the board votes on approval for 2 full years, 2 full school years, with no more changes made. So if that is correct, a discussion will occur without any parental or student input, like at all. We're 3 years into a modified calendar, and that was approved with minimal community, student, and parental input. Since then, we haven't had surveys, meetings, town halls, check-ins, or really any opportunity to share our thoughts on the calendar. And there have been 2 votes so far, not just 1, but 2. And we're approaching a 3rd vote, and there's still no sign of taking parental input. This is mostly anecdotal, but there's a collection of data through multiple discussions on a very busy District 150 discussion group. And that data shows there's a lot of concern about starting school in July. This is across the board: parents, teachers, students, staff. There have been other topics that are also very important, including the lack of community partners for the longer fall and spring breaks, families that aren't able to get reimbursed for expenses they were told would be compensated over these breaks, TAs and behavior attendants not having their expected work hours and their paychecks due to outsourcing the intercession students, camps, sports, family plans that overlap with the first 1 to 3 weeks of school starting, and more. We aren't being consulted. We aren't being surveyed, and We have no representation on this calendar other than our elected reps on the board who, as far as I know, have not surveyed or consulted constituents. So we, the families, are the most affected, and we have not been consulted. Earlier this year, a petition with almost 500 signatures was circulated with a lot of positive community reaction, and we, the community, were told at the February 26th board meeting that it was too late to use this very reasonable proposal for a compromise this current school year, which we understand, that's policy. But it's not too late to consider it or other modifications for the school years 2026-27 and 2027-28. So please do not vote on a new academic calendar without meaningfully seeking and listening to the input from the community. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. That's the only audience presentation response to the audience presentation. I'm going to yield to Dr. Karad, and then I'm going to follow up with her.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Madam President, and thank you, Ms. Fingerhut, for sharing your feedback with us. I know there was an email, you requested some information about the calendar committee. I got anyway, and so the response was, and I just want everybody to hear it, and Mrs. Fingerhut did, for the most part, did a nice job summarizing, but what we told her was, through my rep, Mrs. Hammer, the committee is comprised of a representative from each of the 5 unions, which she said. Teachers usually have 4 representatives, principals from primary, early childhood, middle, high school, and alternative locations. Executive directors of the schools are also on that committee, director of transportation, director of communication, director of employee services. And it went on and on, very similar to what Mrs. Fingerhut mentioned. And I believe in the end, we asked, I said to the team, because we worked on this response collaboratively, if there were any feedback that Mrs. Fingerhut and the group would like us to submit, because I'm not even on the calendar committee, to submit to the group when they convene, and I'm not sure when they're convening, we would be happy to do that. And I don't remember, Mrs. Fingerhut, that information that you referenced, but I would really love to see it. The recommendations you guys had. So I would love to see it at some point, and I'll keep it in a safe place, and when they're meeting, ensure that it's discussed. And then, so that's one, Madam President. And then just quickly in terms of, because I know Ms. Rose has been really, really good. If she hears anything, and all the board members, they'll send it to me quickly. We'll respond. There was one request from a parent who said she had not gotten reimbursed, and I spoke to the team about it. And the team, I mean, nobody else, because we had quite a bit. And this was the first time that we decided, let's really give our teachers a break and not have them work during the intercession, because initially the idea was more opportunities to make fun, to earn wages, additional wages. And I thought that went very well. Dr. Corey Molson, Ms. Brooks, and communication, and Dr. Coleman, they're shaking their head. We had about 7 or 8 partners, and they had students, and the parents were told about the process in terms of how that reimbursement. For the most part, I would say over 90%, we paid the agencies, organizations directly, but there were a couple that may have just that one. And so I told Ms. Rose, she asked me, I said, okay, here's the process. She has to fill out the W-9 form. Once we get that, and then she was like questioning, why do I have to do that? Well, that's, so that's just one, which is amazing out of all of the, all of the children and families who selected, whether it was the Y, the Park District, Friendship House, Art Inc., and we visited all of those, and they were, So I want us to at least give us some credit, and And I don't know if there was some misunderstanding in terms of what to do, but Ms. Rose received that information, and I think before Thanksgiving, I don't remember. Yeah, okay. So that's all I have for that.
Dr.
Madam
Crut,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
parent has already filled out those forms and is waiting, like just waiting for the check to come in the
Okay,
mail. Too,
perfect.
just to add on.
Okay, perfect. Deb will take care of that, Mr. Willis's department. So, Madam President, that's all I have in terms of that response.
I just want to make this one observation for parents. As we were leading up to the modified calendar, you always have the opportunity to reach your elected person. So if you're in District 2, that would be Greg and I and Mrs. Kostick. That's one level. Since we know that it's coming, if you guys want to have a conversation with us, sometimes it's not our role to instigate that. We would encourage any parent, any group, any neighborhood, a association, if there's something that you want us to consider, take the initiative and reach out to us. This is a volunteer post, and we all have primary jobs, and we don't live and breathe Peoria Public School Board work. One, as a parent, having raised 3 sons in the district, I was very proactive about whatever was going on. And I always worked, and the protocol is this. You work with your local building, that's your principal and your leadership. And then they in turn work with the superintendent, and you always have access to your board member, and you can reach all 3 of us at the same time. But if the 500 people who signed, if they want to host a stakeholders meeting, you guys are more than welcome as a community partnership person group to set it up, give us notice, and make sure we can be there because we do work and we do travel with our jobs. But the relationship is twofold. It's not just us creating and doing the work. It takes all of us. And so I would encourage you to instigate that, set it up. We believe, I know I speak for myself, and I know Greg and Mrs. Kostick, we believe in our stakeholders. I do that in a professional scope on behalf of the state. And for years I worked for IDOT, and there are many stakeholder meetings about eminent domain, highways, and all kinds of things. We initiate that on that side just because it's about federal funding, but because this doesn't have money attached to it, I encourage any group to reach out to us and be proactive with us so that we aren't in crisis mode and people are upset. And if you have a survey that is going out, if you've created something, I caution anybody, you can't find resolution on social media. Just not the best tool because not everybody utilizes social media. It's one avenue, but it cannot be the only avenue if you're gathering facts and you're wanting us to look at it. I notice a lot of times people start threads on social media and they run like a fire with misinformation. And we are available. Our contact information is on the website. I know that our superintendent's very responsive, and so are we. So I welcome. We have your contact information, and when that time comes, we can proactively reach out. And if I don't reach out to you, it's because I don't have the capacity to. But I would encourage you to reach out to me. I'm just one individual. Of course, Greg, Mrs. Kostick. And if it's 500 people, you guys got probably a little more access and time than probably we do. So thank you. And I appreciate that because it does matter. And as a parent, had I had, students in the district, I'd be one of the people not only in the mic, but I would have probably set up some email bands, getting the information out because it's about us having the opportunity to communicate, exchange ideas, and work together because it is Peoria Public Schools. And it doesn't exist without parents, students, leadership, and those of us who are volunteering to just serve, just because we sincerely care. So thank you for raising that, and I look forward to working with you, and I look forward to hearing from you too. Thank you. With that in mind, we have action items, the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped that. Information items, superintendent's update, financial update, and proposed expenditures over 2,500, and report of Freedom of Information Act status.
Thank you so much, President McConnell. So for my superintendent update, there are so many amazing things happening this weekend. I can talk about Ms. Brooks, and I know Ms. Calfee were there as well. Mrs. Kostick, one of your favorite events, the Communication Advantage Kids, they were at Elise Fort Allen. There were over 300 students. And actually, Ms. Rose, you were there as well. How could I? Because we were chatting. Ms. Rose, you were in attendance. It was a sight to see. And you want to say something quickly?
Sure. So there are about 300 students who had worked very hard over the last couple of months to create their speeches. Some had memorized them, and they were just dynamic. Everyone that gave it a try was so brave, and it just takes a lot to stand in front of people and speak at a young age. And so I was really impressed. It was well organized. They got lunch, and I mean, it was just a really good event. And so I would encourage next time that they have their event, if you are not doing anything, come out and see those young people give those speeches. It's really nice.
And it's primary and middle, and there were no discipline problem, and they reminded me of little college kids because their results were posted, and they had their presentations, and they were memorizing, and I was with the 8th graders. Miss Rose, you were with the primary group?
I got to see several students speak primary and middle, and it was really cool to see them. And they don't seem nervous at all, and they have a really great ability to articulate and present. And I got to see them kind of in between rounds too, kind of building community in the cafeteria, waiting for their next round, and just all the schools being together like that is really neat to see. So, and logistically, whoever put that on deserves a ton of kudos because it was a lot of logistics.
Yeah, Sal put it on, and he had a lot of the Bradley students serving as judges. President McConnell wants to know when the next presentation will be held. I don't remember. This was the winter.
This was the winter, so they'll have one
maybe for spring. Yes, I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, I mean, I remember getting the notice, but we kind of need those like well in advance. So once the date and when it gets closer, if you guys can just email us that information so that we can add it to our calendars, to our lifestyle calendars.
We'll do.
Thank you.
And then the other thing I wanted to do quickly was recognize Miss Rose. This is her last board meeting with us. She has been with the district since 2010, so 14.5 years. And so she started her career with Peoria Public Schools as an ESL teacher. She obtained her master's degree in administration. She developed the dual language program for Peoria Public Schools in 2017 and provided students the opportunity to become biliterate in the academic studies. She's the director of bilingual and multicultural programs for PPS. And she was also a bilingual teacher, ESL teacher, reading coach, assistant principal, and director of Peoria Public Schools, director for Peoria Public Schools. So she's a hard worker. I like her. We get along. I like her thinking. You got to see her. You got an opportunity to hear what she values in terms of student engagement. She talked about, I don't know if you picked it up when she selected those 2 teachers. She said, Doc, can I recognize? And I ask everybody to recognize individuals in our system who are doing a nice job or just following our mission and vision. And some of her the things she values: rigor, relevance, engagement, project-based learning, and so forth. So she's a second language learner herself, and she understands the struggles that students face when they enter schools in the United States. And I remember her telling me stories. She grew up in Chicago and, again, did not know the language. And Miss Rose, I just want you to know how much I respect you, I love you, I just appreciate your passion and your creativity, thinking outside the box to really move our kids, all kids. And you were, I read an excerpt of the proclamation from the mayor, but you're doing some work with the international teachers as well, and it's not even on there. So anyway, let's give Ms. Rose a round of applause.
You've made a huge impact.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this from the bottom of my heart. It's been wonderful working for the district, and I've met a lot of wonderful people. I couldn't have done it without the support of Dr. Karat, because she gave me permission to fulfill some of the things that I wanted to, and she believed in me, and I will never forget that. And my colleagues were always there to support. I know that everybody here in my team and outside of my team, the teachers all feel that students here have opportunities, and we have to provide those opportunities for them, no matter where they come from, especially our teachers too, who offer so much when they come from other countries and share their knowledge here with us. Thank you again. I love you, Dr. Karat. I love my team, and I cherish the time I worked for Peoria Public Schools. Thank you.
Okay, is that all for superintendent update? Okay, financial update, budgeted expenditures.
Yeah, talk about a hard act to follow. Year-to-date expenditures through December 9th total $109.1 million. That's a $7.2 million change from our last report dated November 25th, 2024. The big difference between this number and November 25th is evidence-based funding, that payment that came in. With respect to expenditures, year-to-date expenditures total $104.9 million. That's through December 9th. That compares to $97.9 million as of November 25th, about a $7 million change. For the most part, that spend was salary, benefit, and capital outlay categories is where we saw the differences. I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody might have with respect to the financial report that was presented.
From anyone? Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Willis. Proposed expenditures over 2,500? Or none? Report of requests under the Freedom of Information Act and the status of such.
Thank you, President McConnell. Since our board meeting on November 25th, we've received 2 new requests, Freedom of Information requests, and there were 3 pending requests noted on November 25th. Of those, 2 remain open, so there are 4 requests currently open. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, action items, consent agenda. Dr. Wilson.
Yes, President McConnell, thank you. The consent agenda consists of the following items. Item number 1, gifts to school district. Item number 2, payment of bills. Item number 3, payment for travel. Item number 4, human resource report. Item number 5, abate taxes on the general obligation school bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2017, and transfer county school facility sales tax revenue to debt service fund. Item number 6, abate taxes on the taxable general obligation school bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2017B, qualified zone academy bonds, and transfer county school facility sales tax revenue to debt service fund. Item number 7, property tax levy. Item number 8, abate taxes on the general obligation school bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2019A, and transfer county school facility sales tax revenue to debt service fund. Item number 9, Manual High School boys basketball shootout. Item number 10, declaring real estate property surplus and direction to administration to dispose of the property pursuant to the school code. Item number 11, renaming of former Quest Middle School located at 2612 North Boots Avenue, Peoria, Illinois, 61604. Item number 12, renaming of former Quest High School located at 2503 North University Street, Peoria, Illinois, 61604. And that is the entirety of the consent agenda.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wilson. Do we have any items that anyone would like to pull for separate discussion? Yes.
I'd like to pull item number 11 and item 12 for discussion.
Okay, thank you. Are there any others? Oh, no, so item number 11 and 12. Yeah, I'm just checking to see if there was any others. They need to be pulled. Okay.
The reason that I'm asking to pull this is,
Hold on, I need to take a motion
Oh, I'm
to,
sorry.
just to go on and approve the other ones, and then we will
Discuss
take
this.
separate votes on that. Okay, motion to approve all the items on the consent agenda, pulling items number 11 and 12 for further discussion and a separate vote.
So moved.
Second. Madam Secretary, may you call the roll?
Mrs. Costick?
Aye.
Mrs. Murray?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
Dr. Wilson?
Aye.
President McConnell?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you, and then I yield to Mrs. Costick for
thank you
item
very
number.
much. The reason I'm asking for this to be pulled for discussion is that I had the privilege of being on the committee when we changed the names of several of our schools, and there was a process involved in that. And so I just needed for it to be clarified why this process is not being followed as the policy indicated with the changing of the school names that we did beforehand.
So this would be different. So the naming of the school buildings before were active, open buildings that were in use.
Okay.
These are empty properties that have been repurposed and given back to the district because of the charter school ending. And so those are names. Of course, we already knew that we were gonna have to do something with those buildings, and the Building and Grounds Committee could have been proactive and said, hey, we're looking at the names. So not so much is for us instigating that, but that would fall on you guys as your, committee to say, since we have this property, we need to properly identify it. Due to funding that needed to be designated and applied for so that we are ready for the next school year. We took recommendations from the board. It could have been any one of us. When we had some conversations, and I did speak to Mrs. Ross about this. So not that anybody has overlooked you, but it is different. These are vacant buildings, as just like the other properties are. And last thing, if you have a recommendation, if you don't like these names, I ask you now to just yield any recommendation so that we may consider it.
That was not my purpose. My purpose was so that we were notifying the community as to why this process was different from the process of renaming the schools. So it has nothing to do with whether or not I feel anything as far as the names. I have nothing against that whatsoever. I'm fine with it. I just think that we owe it to the community to explain why the process is different. That's the only thing.
And it is different because it's not an open school, and we are repurposing it. So that is the difference. And of course, if anybody in the community has any questions, they certainly welcome to ask. The board packet went out, and we are open for any conversation. But tonight we are acting on this so that we can go forward to prepare these buildings and be ready for the programming come the new school year 25. It's a little exceptional because we didn't have time. Us renaming those other buildings were on a continuum because it didn't have to happen. That's a totally different process. We have 2 vacant buildings that are in great shape that we want to repurpose to meet the needs of our population, and to go through a stakeholders meeting and to go through that old process would not have been feasible in this instance. So that's the reason why it is different.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions or discussion from anyone? Okay, and then notable, it says the Glenn Barton School. Of course, on the sign, it won't have the, it'll be Glenn Barton School. And the Multicultural Dual Language A Academy will be Multicultural Dual Language A Academy. I would like to entertain a motion to approve items number 11 and 12.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Madam Secretary, if you will, call the roll.
Mrs. Costick?
Aye.
Mrs. Murray?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
Dr. Wilson?
Aye.
President McConnell?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Deliberation agenda.
Expulsion with the expulsion to be held in advance. Purpose action that the Board of Education approves expulsion with the expulsion held in advance listed on the report dated December 9th, 2024, be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay, Madam Secretary, roll.
Mrs. Costick?
Aye.
Mrs. Murray?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
Dr. Wilson?
Aye.
President McConnell?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Number 14, expulsion. The Board of Education approves expulsion listed on the report dated December 9th, 2024, be approved as presented.
Second.
Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Mrs. Costick?
Aye.
Mrs. Murray?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
Dr. Wilson?
Aye.
President McConnell?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Are there any presentations from board members or suggestions? Yes.
I just wanted to remind everyone that the Behavioral Intervention Committee meeting is this Thursday at 4 o'clock virtually. And I also wanted to remind everyone that the Peoria Public School Foundation breakfast is January 9th, and it is not too early to get a ticket.
Okay, thank you. Do we have some more observation?
No,
I
I
ha-
just noticed that I had 2 announcements.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
sure.
apologize. Attendance matters. The more you hear, the more you grow. Attendance makes your future glow. Showing up matters. Did you know missing just 2 days a month puts students in the chronic absentee category? And chronic absentees are 7 times more likely to drop out of high school. Every day counts. So plan to show up, to glow up, and to pave the way to success. Thank you.
President McConnell,
Yes, ma'am.
I at this point in time, I'd like to make a comment regarding the Mrs. Rose who's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Rose, I've known over the years to have the vision of what's going to happen at the new multicultural center. First of all, I apologize for being away because I'm not feeling well. And that's about the 5th time I've been away in 24 years. So I recommended last time that we look at her as possibly, assisting with helping to get that off the ground, because when you have a vision, you cannot just hand your vision over to anyone else. You have to really work with people so they can see the vision that you have. And it is her vision, basically, along with others, but mostly hers. And I've known her over the years to always come through with whatever she had been asked to do. So that's just my comment. And I want to congratulate her as well. But I hate to say we'll lose a talent like this, because we do have a lot of people that can offer advantages to what we're doing.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ross. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Do we have any other announcements from anyone on the board? Thank you so much. Thank you, faculty. It is 7:50. We're about 20 minutes delayed, but have a great Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everyone, as we may not see you. And thanks for being here. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.